First, we're going to talk about some background history. Mesopotamia is a historical region in the Fertile Delta in modern day Iraq. This was the location of the Babylonian Empire. After the Old Babylonian Empire collapsed, there were a series of rulers over a 1,000-year period. The last of these was the Assyrian Empire. Chaldean king Nabopolassar was crowned king of Babylon in 605 before Christ to end Assyrian rule. Babylon became the capital of the Neo-Babylonian Empire and the most important city in Mesopotamia. The Neo-Babylonian period was not only of unprecedented economic growth, but also a renaissance in culture, architecture, and artwork. Of course, this was some above else in the city of Babylon, where the king Nebuchadnezzar II ordered a complete reconstruction of the Babylonian palaces. He also built the Ishtar Gate in order to display the power and wealth of the empire. Scholars believe that Babylon was the largest city in the ancient world during the Old Babylonian period and again during the New Babylonian period. It is during this later period that King Nebuchadnezzar II reigned and the Ishtar Gate was built. Babylon was likely the first city to reach a population of about 2 million, and it is estimated to have covered an area about 2,200 acres. The New Babylonian Age was described by contemporary sources as a golden age, said to be the most powerful empire of the time. The Ishtar Gate is one of the main gates surrounding the inner city of Babylon, capital of the ancient Mesopotamian kingdom of Babylonia. It was the largest and most elaborate of the city's gateways. The oldest reference to the Ishtar Gate comes from the Old Babylonian cuneiform text dated around 1600 before Christ, and most of the archaeological documentary evidence we have of the gate was produced under the reign of Nebuchadnezzar II. As we can see, King Nebuchadnezzar II was one of the most influential and transforming kings of Mesopotamia. It was his vision to create the most central, powerful, cosmopolitan city. He beautified the city with building projects and art, focused on intellectual pursuits, and enlarged the army and territory. His inscription on the Ishtar Gate reads, I, Nebuchadnezzar, laid the foundation of the gates down to the groundwater level and had them built out of the pure blue stone. I covered the roofs by laying majestical cedars lengthwise over them. I hung doors of cedar adorned with bronze at all the gate openings. I placed white bulls and ferocious dragons in the gateways and thus adorned them with luxurious splendor that people might gaze on them in wonder. The Ishtar Gate existed as a double gate in each of the parallel walls surrounding the inner city of Babylon, and stood over the street of procession which led from the north into the center of the city. Originally built in unbaked mud brick with mud mortar, like the walls around it, it was rebuilt numerous times under the Nebuchadnezzar's reign in baked brick with tar mortar. Tar mortar is a sort of cement, we can call it, that was used back then. The Ishtar Gate was made for over 20,000 finely texturized clay bricks, which were molded by being pressed into reusable wooden forms. The bricks were sun-dried, fired, and then glazed. The glaze for the bricks was made of a combination of plant ash, sandstone, and pebbles. This mixture was melted, cooled, and ground very finely before mineral pigments were added for color. The majority of the bricks were glazed blue in order to look like lapis lazuli, a semi-precious stone highly prized in the Asian world. The bricks depicting animals were glazed in brown and gold. Once the bricks had been glazed, they were carefully assembled so that the seams between bricks would not be apparent. The seams were sealed with bitumen, a natural tar-like substance used as building material throughout the ancient world. The doors and roof of the Ishtar Gate were built of cedar wood and bronze. We can see how bulls and dragons in brick reliefs were built into different levels of the gate to reference the patron god of the city, Marduk, and other divine entities. Uh, 9 layers of unglazed relief animals have been documented. Um, but why these animals? Well, they are there to represent certain gods. The name of this gate was given in honor to the Babylonian goddess Ishtar, but it also was intended to pay homage to other Babylonian deities through animal representation. The animal represented on the gate are young bulls, lions, and dragons. These animals are symbolic representation of certain deities. Lions are often associated with Ishtar, goddess of fertility, love, war, and sex. We also have bulls, which represent Adad, the weather god. And finally, we have the dragons, which represent Marduk, the chief or national god or patron of the Babylon city. Now, why were the bricks painted with these colors? In the case of blue, we have that this color was resembling the gem stone lapis lazuli. This precious stone and the color blue were eminently auspicious and associated as symbols of opulence and holiness for both gods and kings. Ugnu, the way they called this color, was employed to describe dark blue, dark purple, and even black materials, and yet again was associated with notions of brilliance and radiance. We also have green and yellow. These two colors were auspicious and employed to convey notions of freshness, fertility, and ripeness. They describe plants, ripening fruit, trees, and on occasions were also used to describe the sky. Yellow was often used specifically for the depiction of forces of chaos, such as lions, demons, and hybrid monsters. And finally, we have red and brown. Samu was broadly equivalent to the color red, but leaning heavily towards the dark red and the color brown. Red was the color specifically associated with the representation of divinity, particularly in describing the physical features of gods. The goddess Ishtar bore the name Red Lady of Heaven, a title reflective of her character as goddess of the morning and evening star, the planet Venus. These colors then included the aggressive and destructive nature of divinity. Finally, we have the excavation and reconstruction of the Ishtar Gate. The Ishtar Gate was excavated between 1902 to 1914, during which 45 feet or 13.7 meters of the original foundation of the gate was discovered. The material excavated by Robert Colway was used in a reconstruction of the Ishtar Gate and the processional way. In 1930, the reconstruction was finished at the Pergamon Museum in Berlin. Due to size restrictions at the Pergamon Museum, the Ishtar Gate is neither complete nor its original size. The gate was originally a double gate, but the Pergamon Museum only utilizes the smaller frontal part. The second gate is currently in storage. Originally, the gate had a door and a roof made of cedar and bronze, which was not built for the reconstruction. A smaller reconstruction of the Ishtar Gate was built in Iraq under Saddam Hussein as the entrance to the museum. However, this reconstruction was never finished due to war. There are several museums in the world that have received portions of the Ishtar Gate: the Istanbul Archaeological Museum, the Detroit Institute of Art, the Royal Ontario Museum, the Louvre, Munich State Museum of Egyptian Art, New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Oriental Institute of Chicago, and many others. Finally, as an additional fact, the magnificence of the Ishtar Gate was so well known that it made it to the national list of the Seven Wonders of the Ancient World. However, it was later replaced by the Lighthouse of Alexandria. Some authors wrote that the Gates of Ishtar and Walls of Babylon should still be considered one of the wonders. Now, as a personal conclusion, I believe this gate is a very fair representation of what art is because it is not only beautiful, but it also tells us a story and let us know more about the beliefs of the Babylonian civilization. It also permits us to see how a message can be given without even using words. The way they use not only the animals but the colors so we can see their condition. Mm, they were trying to show us how wealthy they were and how protected they were by their gods. Using some specific colors to represent every god. For example, the brown, like I said, that represents the Ishtar goddess, which is one of their main gods, and also how they use blue to show how wealthy they are, how powerful the Babylon Empire is. It is very interesting how all these symbolisms that an artwork can contain. So, thanks for watching. Have a nice day.